Okay, so now we're going to install our needle clamp or our chuck for our 1/4" quarter gauge. Remember, we're changing from 3/4 to 1/4" quarter. Okay, install our needle clamp. Remember, the screw in the front is your spot screw. You have to get it right on that dimple there. Okay. And what I would do is just tighten her down a little bit. All right, back it off just a little. You should be able to wiggle it without moving it all around. That way you know you're on the spot. Now we can tighten it up. Tighten your spot screw. Your side screw. Then come back and make this good and tight. Come back, tighten your spot screw. Very good. And then tighten, don't over tighten the side one now. Just come back and lock it in a little. Okay. Now our needle clamp is set. So now our first setting, when we do the timing, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to put our needles in and we're going to line them up with the needle place hole. We're going to set the alignment or the twist of our needle clamp or needle bar. Okay, so first we're going to switch. Let's put the 1/4" quarter throat plate on here. So we're going to remove our throat plate. Okay. Okay, we put our new 1/4" quarter throat plate on the adapter plate. We'll put this back on the machine. We'll put our needles into the needle clamp and we will line them up in the needle plate holes. I'm not going to put the screws in now, but you got your pins here. You have your pins, so that is on there correctly. And now put your needles back in, all 4 needles. Now this is a front to back looper machine. When you put your needles in, scarf is facing to the left. Front to back looper machine, loopers move this way. Loopers are moving front to back, scarf of your needle faces left. Okay, so now you can see when I turn my hand wheel, the needles are coming down into the throat plate. We want to line them up perfectly, and as you can see, these two on the right side are very close to the front of the needle plate holes. The two on the left are clear by a good bit, so it's twisted, it's off a little bit. The angle of the needle clamp, which we're going to set from loosening the needle bar, that angle is off. When we set this, we want the needles equal distance from the front and sides. The needle's on the all the way on the right side, your right side needle and your left side needle. They should be equal distances from the front of your throat plate, from the sides, and from the back. So that's what we're looking for. We will fine tune this later using the loopers, but this will get you close. Okay, let's remove the entire faceplate. Let's take the faceplate off so you can see where we loosen the needle bar. You'll get a clearer picture of the needle bar and the presser foot bar. So we'll take a break here, take this off. Okay, now we're going to start timing the machine. We were talking about the alignment of your needles in the throat plate. So if you look at these drawings, we have some drawings right here. We don't have the first one, but you want to align the needles and the throat plate. Okay, that's step one. So we're going to loosen our needle bar. There's 3mm screw. 3mm. We're going to loosen, and we're just going to twist. We're going to tap on one side of our needle clamp. You might still have it a little too tight. Okay, and what we're looking for, like we said earlier, equal distance. The needle on the far right, the needle on the far left. They should be equal distance from the front of the needle plate holes, the back of the needle plate holes, and the sides. That's what we're looking for. So that looks pretty good. Now we're going to fine tune this. All right, to me, this one's a little further away, it looks. This side, it's a little further away to the front of the needle plate hole. The right side is than the left side. So this was just a little too tight for twisting, so I'll loosen it a little more. Okay, now it should move easy. Okay, and we'll just tap that a little bit. And now we're getting close. Okay, but we're going to get this more precise. We're going to check it again. We're going to use our loopers. So we're going to take the throat plate back off, and then we're going to put our loopers in the looper holder. And then we're going to check the alignment again using our 2-end loopers and our 2-end needles. So let's go do that. Before we do that, let's talk about needle bar height. We also have a needle bar height, which is 13.5mm. This is the gauge that we use for our needle bar height. Lay it on top of the needle plate. Okay. And I haven't touched the height. It looks pretty good. I mean, it's close. It's very, very close. The needle bar might have to come down just a little bit, but it's certainly less than, it's definitely less than 1/2 millimeter. That's probably like 0.1 or 0.2. I think we can leave it for now. But this is a gauge that you use for your needle bar height. But again, there's another way of checking your needle bar height. Actually, if you have the looper distance, which we'll discuss out later, if your looper distance is the correct distance, and if you're eccentric, which is basically the synchronization of your loopers and your needles, if that is set correctly, your needle bar height will automatically be in the right place. So we will come back to that. Right now we're going to continue with step 1 and 2, aligning our needles and our loopers. Okay, so first we did it in the throat plate. Now I'm going to remove the throat plate. And I'm going to put in my 2-end loopers. So like we said, this is a 4-needle machine. It has 4 loopers. Okay, actually these drawings are a little out of order, so actually we're going to go back. We have to set the position of our looper holder. If you look at this here, step 3. Well, first we're going to set the alignment of the looper holder. First we're going to do that, and this is very simple. All you're going to do is this is the screw that holds your looper. We're going to take the slot of the screw that holds the looper. We're going to turn the slots straight up and down, just like the picture shows. And then when we bring our needles down, they should be on the right side of the slot. This will give your looper a good angle coming into the needle. So we bring our needles down. Make sure every time you rock this needle bar down, make sure your needle guards are out of the way, or your needles will hit them and you'll bury your needle. So just make sure they're out of the way. Now we loosen this. Remove this so we're too far back there. Let's move this in a little. Okay. Now as you can see, looper rocker is still loose. We turn the slot, the screw that holds your looper, we turn that slot straight up and down. Then we bring our needles down and we look very carefully. We want the point of our needle to be on the right side of the slot of the screw that holds the looper. So we turn these slots straight up and down. They're all straight up and down. We can snug this up a little. Now we snug this up. It moved right on me a little, but that's okay. We'll move it back. Okay. If you want, you can get a magnifying glass and really see it closely. But we bring our needles down. We put the slot and the screw straight up and down. We want the needle to be on the right side of that slot. And that's the location of our looper holder. This gives us a good angle because you want the looper turned in just a little bit when it reaches the needle. Instead of perfectly straight, we want it turned in just a little bit. So that's how you get the angle of your looper. And now we're going to tighten them up. Oh, that's still loose over here. Okay. Okay, so after setting the looper holder, your right to left position of the looper holder, after setting that, we want to come back with our 2 end loopers and double check what we did with the throw plate. We aligned our needles in the throw plate. In step 1, you want to come back here, and all I'm going to do is bring my loose. So my needles are traveling up now, my loopers are coming in. I want to bring them in slowly until the tip of that looper, you see me wiggling this looper, until that hits the needle. Except right now they're back a little too far, but that's all right. Right there, I'm hitting this needle already. Now I come back all the way to the right needle, and I'm off a little bit. I'm not hitting it. This one's touching, this one's not touching. So I would fine tune that alignment by twisting this needle clamp back to the right a little. Okay, but first, we loosened our looper rocker shaft, so we're back a little too far. That setting is 3 millimeters, which we'll get the next page in 1 second. Okay, we're still checking the twist of our needle bar. I'm bringing my loopers in close to my needles while I wiggle them. At the same time I bring them in, I wiggle them. This one now is touching this needle, and this one is clear. So this is how we fine tune it. So we will loosen our needle bar again. This screw, remember, this is how we adjust our needle bar height and our twist. Needle bar height and twist.
You have to do really slightly loosen, right?
Right now, yes. And I'm going to tap on this a little. Now I wiggle again. That one's touching, that one's not, so not enough. Okay. Bring it in a little more. That one's pinging. You can hear it pinging. You could feel it. And that one's hitting. So that's better. So that's another way to double check. Like I said, first we aligned it in our needle plate. We aligned our needles in our needle plate holes. Then we come back with our 2 end loopers and our 2 end needles, and we fine tune that position a little bit. Now, when you come back and tighten this clamp, it is possible, when you tighten it, it is possible that it moves on you a little bit. So when I tighten it, I will see. Unfortunately, you'll have to check everything again once you do the final tightening. So I tighten it all the way. Sometimes it'll move, sometimes it won't. Okay, it's still close enough. It's still, all right. It didn't move on us that much, so we can leave it. Okay, now we're gonna go to the next step, which is your looper distance. 2.5 millimeters, that's first looper distance is needles all the way down. Needles all the way down, loopers all the way back. That distance is 3 millimeters from the point of the looper to the center of the needle, or 2.5 millimeters from the point of the looper to the back of the needle. So this distance right here, this distance in between the point of the looper, loopers are all the way down, needles all the way down, loopers all the way back. That distance there is 2.5 to 3 millimeters. 2.5 to the back, 3 to the center. Okay, so I'm going to snug this looper up a little bit while I check it. We snug it up, okay. And now, the way I do it, this Allen wrench is a 3 millimeter. Needles all the way down. Okay, that's a little snug. 2.5. That's not bad. 2.5 to the back. It's a little tight, so like we spoke about earlier in the troubleshooting section, we never want to loosen it from here. So I have to adjust that looper distance. We have to come inside the reservoir cover. 7 millimeter hexagon nut. We loosen it a little. And now I have to go back just a little bit. We need to move it just a little. Tap on that. I think it moved a little. Come back, tighten this up. All right, and we're going to check it again. 2.5. I like to get it where the 2.5 is clear and the 3 millimeter is a little snug, and that should be the right distance, and that's how we have it now. The 3 millimeter Allen wrench is just a little snug, and the 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench is clear. So there, we set our looper distance. You can go ahead, once you get that looper distance where you like it, you can tighten this bolt all the way. Don't over tighten. Okay. Okay, very good. Now, next is our synchronization. Next is our synchronization. Okay, here are the 2 points. Okay, when the needles are going up and the loopers are coming in, you want the point of the looper to be right in the center of your scarf. That's on the way in. On the way back, oh, right here, okay. On the way back, okay, so now on the return, needles are coming down, loopers are going back. The point of the looper should leave at the top of the scarf. Okay, so we're going to check that. Looks pretty good. I'm going to get the magnifying glass, but when it leaves, looper going back, needles going down, top of the scarf. Coming in, middle of the scarf. Okay, we'll continue with the synchronization. As we showed you on the pictures, needles coming in, needles going up, looper coming in. You want to be in the center of the scarf. On your backstroke, loopers going back, needles coming down. The looper should leave at the top of the scarf. Okay? If you have to adjust that, we adjust it from our looper avoid eccentric. This will either speed up your loopers or slow up your loopers. Okay, your looper avoid eccentric. Okay, right now it looks good. It looks like I only have to lower the needle bar a little bit, which would make sense because when we measured our needle bar height, the 13.5, it was just a little bit high. Okay, so on the way in, we're just a little bit low on the way in, and on the way back, we're just a little bit low. So that means the looper's coming in a little low on the scarf. So I will have to lower my needle bar a little bit. To lower my needle bar, okay, this is the needle bar clamp. That's what we use to loosen our needle bar. Okay, and if I want to lower my needle bar, I want the clamp to be moving up. So I'm turning my hand wheel now, and I'm positioning where the clamp is going up. If the clamp is loose and goes up, that's going to lower your needle bar. So now first thing I would do is I'm going to hold my needle bar in place with this screwdriver. Don't put too much pressure. There's some light pressure there. We're holding the needle bar in place. Then I'm going to come back and loosen the needle bar clamp. Okay, then when I turn my hand wheel, that clamp's going to move up without the needle bar moving. Turn my hand, and I'm going to do it very, very little. You might not be able to even see it. That was probably enough. I moved it. You probably couldn't see it on the camera, but it moved. Now I'm going to tighten it back up. Okay. Now I'm going to come back, and unfortunately I have to check my twist again. We don't want it moving, so I'm going to loosen that looper. Check again real quick with the two end. I think they're still good. I want to make sure I didn't lose my twist. It's off just a little. I did lose my twist just a little bit, but let's see where it is now on the scarf. Now I'm going to check it again. Looper coming in, needles going up, middle of the scarf. That looks better. And looper's going back, needles coming down, top of the scarf. And I think it's good. Let me get a look at this magnifying glass. Yeah, and that looks good. So, and we also say there's one other spot you can check. It's not dead center. You also like to see it on the backstroke. Needles coming down, loopers going back, approximately eye to eye. It don't have to be dead center eye to eye, but a little bit of the eyes should catch each other. A little bit of the eyes should catch each other. So on my downstroke, we want to leave at the top of the scarf, and we want to catch a little bit of our eye, and we do. So I'm going to say that's a good shape. I don't know if you can see it. Put all of our loopers in. So we set our needle bar height, our needle bar twist. We set our synchronization. And now we're going to put all our loopers in. We put all our loopers in, but before we tighten our loopers, we have to set our needle guards. Okay, now we're coming to needle guard